Hey, good evening. Welcome to DMR TechNet TV. It is Tuesday, September 17th, Constitution Day, if you follow history. Welcome, everyone. I'm Dana, KC0MYP, along with my fellow DMR TechNet TV cast members. We've got Steve, KC8WXM, Brad, KE8WNV, Tom, N8TJ, Rick,
Oh, shit.
AD8KN, formerly WA3TUU. And our good friend Stan is not with us tonight. He had a little medical emergency last night, but he's getting better and he's getting ready to get ready to play Santa Claus down south in Florida here this winter time. We're in the last week of summer. It's almost what is it? The 21st of September, as Earth, Wind, and Fire calls it. So good stuff there. Tonight we have a very special guest who was with us several months ago on DMR TechNet TV or DMR TechNet, our weekly show we do Monday nights at 7:30 on the Brandmeister Talk Group 31266, the Michigan Nets channel. Hopefully everyone can join it. And if you would like to join our email list, subscribe at dmrtechnet.net. We'll get you taken care of. We have with us tonight our friend Scott Yonally, N8SY, personalized call sign there, or personalized plates, I'm used to saying for cars, but he's going to talk all about the Amateur Radio Relay League. And I tell you one thing, Scott, I love this new version you guys have had for a couple of years now, On the Air magazine. Unfortunately, I don't pay to get it printed and sent to me every month. You guys also had a price increase on that, but that's okay because I print them out myself. 36 pages every other month, pretty good. I know Tom will is just recently joined as can upgraded his membership to a life membership, as well as Steve. And Tom loves reading the monthly QST magazine. So we will get questions from everyone, starting first with the DMR TechNet TV team. After, we'll let you spend some time telling us all about the ARRL and your background. You've got quite a background. I put that in the newsletter. I got a kick out of you were one of the first 300 accredited VEs in the country. That's cool. And also, you're a member of DARA, which hosts the Hamvention every year in May down at Dayton, Ohio. Pretty cool on that one. Without further ado, let's turn it over to Scott. Welcome back, or welcome to DMR TechNet TV. Take it away.
Okay, well, thank you, Dana, and congratulations, Tom and Steve, for joining the ranks of the Life membership. And that I think you'll find it very rewarding. I have in the years that I've been a Life member of ARRL. There is a lot going on. As a lot of you, I hope, read the minutes of the last board meeting, which was extremely successful. In fact, we actually set a record with this last meeting. We actually finished up all our business in one day that normally takes two. So we were very proud of that fact that working together and collaborating together really works, and it shows that it does. So we got all the business that we normally do in 2 days done in one. And one of those things was we're going to take a real deep dive. In fact, we've already started taking a very deep dive into the structure of ARRL. And not only the structure of ARRL, but also of field services. Now, some of you know what field services are, some may not. Field services is actually like ARES and your technical specialists and your PIOs and PICs and so on. That's the actual field service group where, they service the field out there. We're going to deep dive into that, see if we're organized correctly. This is something we're an organization that's over 100 years old, and it's never been done before. In over 100 years, it's never been looked at. Are we structured correctly? Do we have the right amount of employees? Do we have the right amount of volunteers? Is our membership, I know a lot of people have talked about our memberships between 19 and 20% of ARRL, or I should say of all of the licensed U.S. hams out there. Is that a number that needs to grow, or is it where we should be? Looking at it historically, ARRL has always been right around that 20% mark. So we're looking to see, okay, are we lacking in doing our job? In maybe we need to grow the membership. Is that the right way to go, or is the membership at the what we would consider as a normal level for what we do and that type of thing? So those are some of the things we're looking at right now. We have hired a specialist company that does this on a regular daily basis. And as some of the board members are, and I'm included in that, we are looking at how it's structured. Is the structure correct? Have we got all the correct labels for everybody? One of the unique things that is unique about ARRL in Connecticut is any board that you will look at in the state of Connecticut, you won't find a vice director. ARRL is the only one that has a vice director. So we're looking at, okay, is that the right label for them? Is that, do they have a true function within the organization, or is that something that maybe we need to rethink? The same way with the section manager positions. Are those what we really need? Are they what we want out there? Or do we want to enhance the program? Maybe we don't have enough, or maybe we have too much. Those are the questions we're asking. And as the independent company is going through all of the structure and how things are structured, these are questions that come up all the time. So that's a lot of what we're doing right now. We've tasked ourselves to try to come up with the final answers by the January board meeting. And so it's a huge task and a huge undertaking just for that alone. For me, I just got back from Connecticut just on Sunday evening. I was up there on most of last week, and I spent that week helped train the new incoming section managers. We had a new class of 12 incoming section managers, and I've been doing that for about the last 3-4 years now, is help train them. I was the section manager for Ohio, which okay, I'm going to say it this way. Please don't misunderstand. Ohio is actually the largest of all the 71 sections in the country. There's over 5,800 ARRL members in Ohio. We also have over 28,000 amateurs, licensed amateurs. So something Michigan has to shoot for. How's that? You're not far behind, I will say that. You're really not. You're 7th on the list of 71. So you're not far behind. However, gives you guys something to shoot for. So whoever it was that was wearing the blue jacket with the big gold M on it.
Yeah, I took it off.
Oh, you took it off. Oh no.
I was too warm. I was too warm. I was too warm.
Oh, I didn't think about it. Or I would have put my Ohio State stuff on. So, as some of you may or may not know, I'm an actual graduate of the Ohio State University, just like our CEO is. But I do have a lot of commonality with the state of Michigan. For one, I was married in Adrian, Michigan, some odd years ago, to my lovely wife that we've been married ever since. And she is also a ham. Her call sign is KB8YPW. So she's still a tech, but that's what she loves to do. So that's fine. She's happy with being on 2 meter and 440, and she's not, CW and the DXing and stuff does not interest her. She is short range communications. She does a lot of incom work here in the local area. So for her, that's all she needs and all she wants. So that's fine. And I'm very happy that we got another ham in the family and that kind of stuff. I got licensed some 45, 46, 47 years ago. My original call sign, you guys are all going to laugh, and that's fine, was KA8DWI. So, and yeah, I got teased a lot. I did. In fact, I still have my license plate with that call sign on it. And still very proud of that call sign. I was going to keep it, but as I came up through the ranks, I started out as a novice and skipped the technician and went to general. And then when I went from general to advanced class, um, see, it was really strange because at that point, I was still taking all my tests up in Detroit. And at that point, you could keep your call sign or you could get a new one if you wanted it. And at that time, they were doing the 2x2s. And those were big at the time when you were going either for a general or for an advanced class. Well, I had marked the box to keep the call sign. And I had passed my advanced class and all that. And about 4 weeks later, I get my license in the mail, and all of a sudden, I don't have K8DWI anymore. It turned into KC8SS. So I became suddenly sober, and trust me, it woke me up because I had all kinds of QSL cards to buy. I had new license plates to get and all that. And we went for a good 6 months with the new call sign, figuring, well, so much for the old one. When all of a sudden I get a pig ticket in the mail from the FCC. And I open it up, and of course I'm shaking like crazy because it's like, what did I do? And so it's like, okay, I open it up and it has this big long introduction and tells me I'm in violation of 97 point something something something, and all this. And when you boil it all down, it came down to I was holding two call signs, two valid call signs at the time. So I'm like, okay, I get a hold of my, well, they now call them mentors. I get a hold of my mentor and I said, what's this? I don't understand what I'm being cited for. And he started laughing. He said, well, they're saying you have two call signs. And I said, yeah, I get that, but how can I have two call signs? And he goes, well, you're just going to have to call the FCC on. So I did. I called Gettysburg and I asked him, I said, okay, why am I being, cited? And they said, well, you're in violation because you're holding two call signs. And I said, but who assigned them? And oh, excuse me here. I got to kill this or okay. Um, well, who assigned them? And they're like, well, you obviously applied. And I said, no, I didn't. And so they started going back through the records, and they said, well, when you upgraded, you must have marked the box. And I said, well, I'll fax you over because I kept a copy of all the paperwork, like, back then you were supposed to do. And I sent it to him and I said, the box wasn't checked. So I think probably for the very first time in the history of the FCC, they actually admitted they made a mistake. They gave me 90 days to figure out which call sign I wanted. I said, well, I've already spent all the money on changing everything. We might as well leave it there. So we did. So for the longest time, I was KC8SS, which was a great call sign, actually, because during sweepstakes, if I'd get on, boy, I was one of them everybody wanted to contact. So it was great for the longest time. Well, I worked for a company where it was loaded full of ham radio operators. In fact, my boss was a ham radio operator. The owner of the company was a ham radio operator. We actually had a corporate jet that I flew all over God's green earth with. I'll explain that in a second. We had a 20-meter and a 2-meter station on board the jet. So, which was really kind of nice. Yeah, we had a Gulfstream, and it was a beautiful jet. I mean, it was a 10 passenger, and it was really nice. Um, the company I worked for was an automotive manufacturing company. We made component parts for GM, Ford, Chrysler, Nissan, you name it, except Honda. That was the only company I did not have as a customer. Long story on that one, but even Mercedes-Benz and all that. Uh, every car made in America pretty much has one of the devices that I was responsible for, and that's the charcoal canister for the purge when you go to fill up your gas tank. And that little valve in there is what I made. And when you shut the car off, the valve went one direction, which went through the canister. When you turn the car on, it shut the canister off and allowed it to breathe regular air. And the reason for that was Cafe 85, the good folks in California who don't want pollution anywhere. They decided that taking it through a charcoal canister was the best of all actions, even though filtered charcoal is probably the most hazardous, dangerous chemical that you can get exposed to, but that was okay by them, as long as it was somebody else. But I was in the automotive industry for a good 30 years. Our company was based in Novi up there, and that was where our sales office was, and so on. And so I worked for a company that used to be called High Stat Manufacturing. The High was part of the Higher brothers owned this company. Jack and Jim K or W8ZES and W8ZET. So we had most of our maintenance guys were all hams. A number of us engineers. I was a quality engineer for them, and most of us were also. One of your Michigan folks up there. He's one of the great guys that used to live here in Ohio, and he and I worked together. And he challenged me, and his old call sign was really a mouthful and a half. And so he challenged me to get my extra, like he was going after. And so we challenged each other, and we said okay, and we both came out with extras at exactly the same time. So then the boss came along and said, well, we have ZES and ZET in here. So now it's got to be something with you two. So we now have, and every once in a while I'll go over to the shop because it's only about a mile away from here. I'll go over, and if John's there, I will stop and talk to him. And his license plate is N8JY and mine's N8SY. So give you kind of a brief where that call sign came from. Yes, it is a vanity call sign, I admit. But I will say one thing. It's never been assigned to anybody but me. I was the very first to get it. So I feel very privileged that I'm the original owner of that call sign. So but anyway, I got started in amateur radio because of my big brother. He was WA8BIW. He started out as a signalman in the Navy. He was stationed on the USS Lake Champlain during Alan Shepard's flight. And of course, if you have any history of NASA and that, the Champlain was the one that picked Alan Shepard up out of the ocean. So, and he was on board when all that happened. So when he got back home, he got his ham license, and just year after year after year, he'd take me to ham fests and field days and all that. I've actually been going to the Dayton Hamvention since I was about yay so tall. And so one day he decided that he needed a better job, and he packed up and moved to Virginia. So to keep the communications going between us, I virtually started into ham radio and got my novice, and then moved up to general and advanced, and then my extra. So, but I got the extra also because of my brother. My brother was in advanced class, and he was my older brother, so I had to one up him, of course. Can't go without doing that. So I had to one up him. So I got started into that. Well, once I got into ham radio, I was into all kinds of disaster relief with Red Cross. I was a Red Cross volunteer. I was also on the board of directors for Red Cross here locally. And so it was kind of just a natural fit for me to get into ARRL. I became the assistant EC here in the county that I live in. And I was doing that and got involved with Skywarn and got my name recognized out there. And the SEC recognized me and made me the DEC for this area. And after that, then I became the PIC when that position opened up, and the section manager knew that I could write, and I was doing newsletters and stuff. So he made me the PIC.
Hey, Scott, hold on.
Okay.
Explain the definitions for people that don't understand them.
Okay, sure. The SEC is the Section Emergency Coordinator, and the DEC is the District Emergency Coordinator. I had 10 counties as a District Emergency Coordinator. PIC is the Public Information Coordinator. I was also the Affiliated Clubs Coordinator, the ACC. So, and I was also an assistant section manager. So I've held many of the field positions that are out there. When I became the assistant section manager, I did that for probably a good 8 years. And the section manager that had it prior to me, he got tired and flat out just said, I've had enough, and quit midterm. And so I took his term over and then ran 4 terms of my own. So I was the section manager here for Ohio for many years. And as time went on, and of course, COVID hit and stuff, Tom Delaney talked to me, and he was your vice director at that time, and he wanted me to take over for him, and I did. And then, of course, Dale and I have been close friends for so many years. It's been ridiculous. I mean, we were both section managers at the same time, and that kind of thing. And Dale said, "Look, it's time for me to step down. You need to step up." So, so I did. I took over as for Dale the beginning of this year. So I know it's a long story. Hope I didn't bore too many people. I don't see too many people yawning, so I guess they're okay. So I'll open it up for questions or whatever you want, however you want to do it, Dana.
Okay, well, what we'll do is we'll have our DMR TechNet team members, we go in our seniority order. So before I get to Tom, I just got a couple of comments that I think is kind of cool. I'm glad you guys finally partnered up with Gordon West, because I used to work at Radio Shack, and there's a book I bought years ago from Gordon West, and I
Yeah.
got to meet him this year at Dayton. And also, it was nice because I ran into Tom at Dayton. We had our picture taken. Tom's son tested as well as I did. I got my extra class, and Tom's son. Tom, was that the one that got married this past weekend? Who got the
No,
general?
no, he got his general that day. He didn't get married. He was doing the worm on the dance floor though.
And then finally, Scott, it was funny. You talked about how you had to go to Detroit for testing.
Oh yeah.
I understand. This is my first FCC license. It's
Yep.
my third class license with broadcast endorsement. I had to drive to Detroit, take the test, which I did pass, so I could work at a radio station way back when. So
Yep.
that was a lot of fun. And then finally, well, actually, before we go to Tom, my question is, we do a DMR net every Monday night.
Mhm.
We like DMR, and I like what Tom always says, DMR is amateur radio. A
Sure.
lot of hams don't always agree with that. And what can the ARRL do to help promote or encourage more DMR usage?
Well, I don't know that they're going to. Let me phrase it this way. We will probably not do anything in particular with DMR as opposed to the digital modes, because you also have to remember that there is, I know it's a funny little quirk out there, but there is what's called D-Star out there, as well as System Fusion. And they are also, but in the commercial realm where we a lot of times reside, there's also P25 that's out there, Next Gen that you have. Now you have All Star coming up as well, and so on. So there's many, many, many different modes of digital. So DMR is just one of the many modes of digital that there are. Yes, in fact, it's on right now. I know you can't see it, but I have a CS 800D sitting here, and it's turned on all day long and every day. So I'm on usually local, but I'm on DMR a lot. So, and but to promote one over the other, I'm not sure that would be a good, wise thing for us to do. I think it's probably better for us to promote the digital world and all of the digital modes that are out there. I
And
know
yeah,
that's
I
kind of a
apologize.
rant here,
No,
but
you're absolutely correct because there are many digital modes and digital networks on that. So
yeah.
do apologize. Yeah, I probably phrased that one wrong, but I did talk to Becky Schoenfeld, who is the publisher of all your magazines, and
Yep.
she says, write an article. You want to see
Right.
articles about digital? Write us an article. And I
Yep.
talked to the other TechNet team members, and we're still twiddling our thumbs. And for a while, I couldn't do it because I worked for a DMR company, and you can't promote brands. This is amateur radio, not other forms on it.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, let's go to my counterpart, Tom, N8TJ. Tom, good evening. Welcome to DMR TechNet TV. What question or questions or comments do you have for Scott?
Thank you, Dana, and also thank you, Scott, for sitting in here. I love listening to your introduction. That's a great history. Aside from all the service that you've done, it's similar to mine. But I'm just happy that I'm a big ARRL advocate. And that's kind of how I define ham radio. I look at what the ARRL does. I have a question that was related to Dana's, but I also have another question I just want to ask real quick. You kind of answered it. You said 20% of all American or all amateur radio licensed operators are in the ARRL. Is that right?
Yeah, it's roughly 20% of the U.S.
So,
licensees.
okay. So we were talking about American. Is there international hams that join
Yes,
ARRL?
actually, we do. We have a
Okay.
number of international.
And so is that healthy? And you started to say that's about where it's been for a while. So from a whole financial standpoint, attitude standpoint, is it seem like the ARRL is acting as a positive influence on most operators, or are you struggling to get people to join? I don't know the answer to that. I don't think so, but you would have your finger on that better.
Well, we're not, I wouldn't say we're struggling to get people to join, but to answer your question more thoroughly, quite frankly, that's why we've hired this company to come in and take a look. Is this I don't want to say optimum number, but is it the proper number for us to be at? I mean, we all love to shoot for that. Well, we should be 100% or we should be 50%, at least 50%. I agree. It would be a utopia world if we had 50% of the licensed hams in America,
Okay.
ARRL members, but I don't know what, that's what they're going to tell us. What is that magic number that you're going to be averaging with, and that'll be where you stay at.
Okay. Very good. It's changed a lot, but the world has changed a lot.
Oh, yeah.
I guess I probably was in the 78 or 79 when I started getting QST, which I waited for every day of the month until it got there. Like everybody else before the internet, you had a catalog, you held on to it, Radio Shack and a few others. You just hung on to that thing and wore it out till the next month came out. Well, that's interesting. So what Dana was saying, kind of is I really like the qualifying runs for CW. I think that is such a neat thing because some of us have passed CW. We can, it's fun to be acknowledged that you took the time to learn CW. And so you can do that. That kind of it's a substitute for the old Tech Plus and the, and the requirement. What about a qualifying run for digital voice where you configure DMR or you configure P25 or you configure D-Star and you make a QSO through a hotspot, you make a QSO and confirm it through a repeater, send it in, and you become now DMR qualified or C4FM qualified. You could get a whole list of them with all the digital voice. It just seems like it's hard. It's not easy to get on DMR. That's part of the reason why we have our little DMR TechNet group is to help people. You just about for sure need an Elmer. And I took a couple months of kind of digging and scratching before I made a QSO on DMR, just out of the pure normal curiosity that I have about technology. And some people get help from other people. You need an Elmer. Just about 100% of everybody needs some sort of Elmering to get a networked signal through. So it just seems like it would be fun to have a qualifying run for other modes than just CW. So I suppose the answer to that is write an article about it. And
I've taken some notes here, and actually, what I will do is I will forward that on to the well, it's called the PSC, or the Programs and Services Committee. They're the ones that do all the awards, and
oh,
we'll see what they have to say. I'll propose that to them.
just an idea. I thought that was neat, and you could have different, because there's new digital voice being invented every day.
Oh yeah,
It would have to be a growing thing. Just you could get your 10 word a minute CW qualifying, and then get your 15 and your 20 and 25. You can keep getting them all, and you get a certificate for your shack too. So
sure.
that was that's really what. Oh, the other one, I'll just mention it because it's a big topic, but I would like to understand how to get our DMR TechNet group here moved into some sort of emergency communications activity. We talk, and we have a net that's pretty good on Monday nights, and have a lot of guys checking into it. We need to plug that into some activities and show how digital voice can add to all that. Most of that's all, we do a siren testing here in Clarkston, Michigan, or in Oakland County where I am, and stuff like that. I just don't know how to, it would be fun to do that somehow on the digital voice. In your experience with emergency communications, I thought maybe you'd have a comment on that. Or perhaps Brad, or Brad's that runs a local club here, WNB there, and he might have some ideas. But anyway, I think that would be a good idea for this group to actually apply our excellent radio operating somewhere.
I will say this, digital is used a lot in Michigan, and your section emergency coordinator, Max, has got a whole big plan for it. He and I have had numerous talks about it back when I was section manager years ago. Michigan seems to have built its digital around D-Star, however.
Yeah.
So my advice would be to contact Larry Camp and Max, both, in that, hey, there's more than just D-Star out there. DMR is also a very valid and very, very good mode to use. Here in Ohio, it's between System Fusion and DMR. It seems like there for a while, DMR was taking over, but now it had kind of the swing a little bit more towards System Fusion. For emergency communications, I will tell you, in 2016, DMR was used exclusively throughout Ohio during the Republican National Convention. We were embedded inside of the command center for the Secret Service and the FBI. And because we had the capability with DMR to be able to go all over the state, just by a push of a button, essentially. We had there was 2 weeks that we had the Republican National Convention. We had the Toledo Air Show, which was huge. It had over 100,000 people in attendance. We also had the Cleveland Cavaliers, who just won the national championship, and there was 1.5 million people wandering downtown Cleveland. All this was happening within a week. And then the fourth one is right in the middle of the RNC. The other candidate decided she wanted to be down in Cincinnati for a special court case of real famous, and it was going on and on. And so her and her entourage were down there. And of course, one of the advantages we had is we could do something even the FBI wasn't capable of doing at that point, at that quick of a point. Now, I know it sounds funny, but it takes a few days for them to be able to set up their communications network. when a president goes someplace, I found this interesting. They usually have 6 to 8 weeks advance notice
Mhm.
when the president's going somewhere. So he doesn't just go walking around. Trust me, that they know his every move before he makes it. And so it comes down to when she decided to do this, she was not sitting president. However, she was the past first lady, so she had the extra security. I know everybody's heard about that now because of what's happened with past President Trump, and so it comes down to um, they they weren't aware that she was going to do this in a quick enough time to have a communications link set up. And they depended on us to be able to communicate from Cincinnati to Cleveland, which when you look at that, that's almost 250 miles. And that's quite a remarkable feat to be able to do it reliably. And we did it for them. We had that link for them. So it was real unique in what was going on here. Now, it doesn't happen every day. Trust me, that's been the first and probably the only time that Ohio has ever been in the spotlight like that. And I doubt if it'll ever be again. But, it's that once in a million years type thing. So does it have its place? Oh, absolutely.
Plus, you guys got to wear those cool ear things.
Oh, yes.
Right around behind the little coil, like the Secret Service wear.
Actually,
And dark glasses too.
these are these are what I had on. Because they're noise canceling. When you're out in a crowd of a million people, if you don't have noise canceling headphones, forget it.
Yeah.
It ain't going to work.
Very good. Well, thank you. I will look in. I'm going to look up Max and Larry Camp and things, and I'll send them a note and just see what they have to say. Let them know that we're out here. The DMR TechNet group seems growing, and the net's getting pretty good.
Yeah.
Every week it seems to get more and more people. Slightly less during the summer, but when it starts raining and snowing, people will be on more.
I will tell you, Ohio started a net it started back in 2016 when we first were invited to the RNC and all that. We started that. It's still going strong. They have it once a week, and they get anywhere between 300 and 400 a month. So it's about 100 a week in that net. And it's a great net. So if you guys get a chance to check in on 3139, and it's on, I believe, Tuesday nights at 8:30, if I remember right. It got switched. It used to be on Wednesday nights, but it got switched over because there was some other. It was competing with some other things. So
is that the Ohio sideband net?
No, it's actually the Ohio DMR net.
Okay, the Ohio DMR. Okay. Oh, DMR 3139. I thought you meant 80 meters. Oh, okay.
Oh, 80 meters. Yeah. Well, if you want to do that, I can give you that as well. That's at 3972.5, and it is 3 times a day, and it's at 10:30, 4:15, and 6:45. And yes, regular check-in, and I'm a life member of that net. It's the Ohio single sideband net.
Yeah, I saw that on your resume stuff. Okay. All right. Well, thank you. I'll go ahead, Dana. Whatever you want to.
And I was going to say, we are recording this, so we'll post this on our website as well as on our YouTube channel. And by the way, I renewed my membership in May, and I didn't want a coffee cup. They said you get a free coffee cup, you renew it. I wanted one of these hats.
There you go.
Thanks. I think her name was Tanya. She was the one who says, no problem. Here you go.
Sure.
Take it from there. Before we go to Steve, I just want an observation. You guys have a work all states with amateur radio, but there's no contest for digital. So we did something last year in July. And in fact, where is he? Ron, AC2UL hit the most states. We're with DMR, worked all states with DMR. But that's also when I got talk group banned from statewide Michigan for going over 10 minutes. And that's why our good friend Steve, who's next to me on the screen, he's coming up next. He's the one who set us up on a TGIF channel, and there's no 10-minute limit on the statewide calling channel. So anyway, if you can do a work all states with digital, that might be fun to look at.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's
Now,
go
I will
over.
tell you real quick something that just came to mind. Several years ago, we decided to, in fact, it was like 4 years ago, we decided to do one test that had never been done before, and that was combine D-Star, System Fusion, and DMR all on the same frequency, all at the same time. And we did it, and it does work. It takes a lot of finesse, but if anybody ever tells you you can't hook the three together at once, you can. We did it.
Tom might want to get notes on that one. So, and too bad Stan isn't here. Unfortunately, he had an emergency room last night. So he's been 50 plus years of doing this stuff. Anyway, and if you guys were here earlier, you could have seen Steve. He demonstrated his prowess with the bagpipe.
Yeah.
Oh,
Steve,
wow.
KC8 WXM, you're up. What kind of questions or comments do you have for Scott?
I think before last time we talked about getting some type of deal with veterans and stuff like that, and I think you said you were looking into that. But one of the comments I have is when I first got into amateur radio, I worked for a company, and several people in the job at Gaslight Media had radio licenses. Like my elder, who has passed away, Silent Key N8DNX, Chuck Scott, who also did emergency communication up here with the Charlevoix Sheboygan Emmett County Public Service Communication Organization, or the CCECPSCO. If we can say that fast.
There's an acronym
That's
for you.
great. I know, right? Can you think of more letters? But one of the things I liked, and I got into the ARRL when I first got my license, and one thing I liked is the handbooks. So there's my first handbook, 2003, right? And they're really good. They last quite a bit of time. I think I updated at this time I updated General 2009. And then of course I got the big black one now. It's the last year's one. It has the 100 on there.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So, and then the hardback. So, and those are, I just love, there's so much in there, and it's great now that you can get like the whole thing on CDs with all the PDFs are all linked together and stuff. They work really good.
Yep.
But one of the things, my question was, again, like if for veterans or something like that, or even for life members, because I become a life member, would there be any discount in the store? Say if I want to get some of the new manuals for license manuals for Gordon West, you know.
There isn't currently, but we are working on a program right now through the committee that I chair, which is, here you go for a long acronym, the ECFSC, or the Emergency Communications and Field Services Committee. We are working on looking into maybe getting clubs as part of become a member, which then they could get discounts on books and that kind of stuff as a member. So, but I kind of like your idea with the veterans and maybe even the seniors in that a discount.
Yeah, well, even like something like this, you have that program where you can get $250. You can donate these books for any library or
Yep.
group or students group or schools.
Yep.
That'd be a great idea, because like I'm also a member of the Legion, and we have a amateur radio club in the Legion.
Mm-hmm.
The amateur radio ALARC, amateur radio, or American Legion ALARC, TALARC, the American Legion Amateur Radio Club. So, something like that where we can get some, just a package or a deal or something like that. That would be great, just to get people started. Okay. And I'm thinking about like the technician license book and stuff like that.
Yeah, and I will
several copies of that to give out to people.
I will put that on the agenda. for the next meeting, which comes up next week, and we'll have a talk about that.
Thank
Hey,
you.
by the way, Scott, you've got Joda, Soda, Poda. Steve and I, a year or two ago, we set up Loda.
Okay.
Steve, you want to tell them what that was?
Yeah, well, yeah, because he came up and so I have these dogs. They bark at everything. So he wanted to run the DMR TechNet. So we went over to the Legion. So we had Loda Legions on the air.
Okay. I was imagining lakes.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, it's in the Great Lakes. It'd
Yeah.
be Goda. Go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
So yeah, Loda. Steve and I, we do that every now and then. If we're at a Legion, we try and broadcast. Of course, we tried it here in Lansing for an annual or American Legion meeting, but we had we screwed up our hotspots. We couldn't connect. So, but we tried. We did try.
oh.
We tried to get Steve down to Dayton this past May. He couldn't make it. He weaseled out. We're trying to get him for next year. But also another member of the DMR tech team is Brad KE8WNV. We tried to get him there too because he wanted to buy ham radio stuff, and with that swap meet, he probably wouldn't have brought enough money to get all the stuff he wanted.
Oh.
But anyway,
Yeah.
Brad, welcome to DMR TechNet TV. Do you have a comment or questions for Scott?
Yes. So I'm getting those nice letters from you guys saying my membership's about to expire and I need to renew. Um, is there a way for me to renew online, but me still join through my club or renew through my club?
At this point,
Because
no. We've been working on that, but unfortunately, the cyber attack kind of set that back quite a ways. So that won't be coming for quite some time.
okay, so I would still have to join through my club, fill out the paper
Yeah.
form, and then mail
Well,
it
what we
off.
recommend for clubs, and this might be something you all take back to all of your individual clubs, is have like a sign up night, maybe once every quarter instead of trying to do it every month. Um, if you have a larger club where you have more influx of people coming in and out, sometimes that works a little bit better for them. Um, so you might want to suggest that maybe once a quarter, once every 6 months they do this. So however it works out the best for I would imagine most of them are treasurers that do this. So, but once a month also works. So, but unfortunately at this time, no, we don't have the electronic version. That was one of the things that we wanted to get, and unfortunately the cyber attack got us first. So.
Hey, by the way, Brad ran for his amateur radio club, the Hazel Park Amateur Radio Club. He ran for first vice president.
Mhm.
Nobody opposed him. He got elected unanimously this past May, I think it
deal.
was.
All right. Good deal. Congratulations, Brad.
I don't know if it's a congratulations or not, because it's a lot of the extra that goes with that. But yeah, and I think we do ours. We just put the forms out by our sign-up sheet, so you see it when you sign in.
Okay. And that
And
worked.
yeah, it
That's cool.
seems to be working for them for the last however many years. I'm not going to mess with that.
I mean, for a renewal, you get $5, and a new member, you get 20. So you can't beat that. I mean, heck, that's free money, guys.
There was a
Yeah.
German station on the 440 Fusion machine this morning on your machine there today, Brad. Just letting you know. He had caught
DO3 BCB.
What was it?
DO3 BCB.
No, I think it was a DL1. It was a DL1. No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't BCB. It was a guy I never heard of. About 8:30 this morning.
On Hazel Park machine?
Yeah, on the 443-100, is it?
Oh, the WXJC machine.
Oh, is that your machine?
Yeah, that's so we have the 146640 and the 441 you just mentioned. That one's the one out in Beverly Hills.
Okay.
So if it was after around 8 a.m. this morning, he could have been on either one because that's about the
Oh,
time they link.
okay.
So those two repeaters link twice a day, and then again right
Okay.
before the net on Sunday nights.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Anyway, it's spotty for me. I was driving, so I got it, and then it went away. I couldn't talk, but I thought that was pretty cool. Love hearing that digital voice.
Before we get over to Rick, I'm going to interject something here, Scott, real quick. Brad's a member, he's an officer of a club. You guys have some special grants you offer to clubs. Can you go a little bit in depth on that before we take Rick's comments and questions?
Sure. Every year, we have been, for the last 3 years anyway, we have been giving grants to clubs. The grants, if they're aimed at a civic project, more of a civic style project where you're giving back to your community, will fly a lot easier than ones that, well, we want 5 books for teaching or something like that. So, but anyway, yes, we've been very fortunate. We've been given $500,000 for the next couple of years for club grants through a special program through the ARDC, or the Amateur Radio Digital Communications Group. Part of that came from, if you're back in the packet days, the Tapper Group, that's part of ARDC. So they inherited 10 million URLs sometime in the late 80s and early 1990s, and they hung on to them. And these URLs are located in the 46 range, so they're into the business. So when a new business comes along and needs a URL, uh, they every so often they will sell these off in blocks. And this last block that they sold, they got something in the neighborhood of $180 million for the group that they sold. And they still have roughly, I want to say, probably close to $1 billion worth of URLs left that they could sell at any time. So they have all kinds of money. And so they've been giving us some grants for that. They've also been giving us grant money for scholarships. And I might as well go into that real quick as well. If any of you have kids that are college age or grandkids that are college age and they're hams, have them apply, especially it'll be coming up here very soon, have them apply for one of the scholarships. We give out approximately 150 scholarships a year. There's over 50 of them that are $25,000 in value. I mean, they're substantial. And all they have to be is, just fulfill the requirements of the tour that goes along with it. Now, with ARDC, it's you have to be an American and you have to be you have to be going to some legitimate college and working toward a bachelor's degree and have a ham radio license, and that's the only requirement. So and also, if you folks want to go back to college, now I know some people may laugh at that, but believe it or not, we do have a number of people that want to go back to college, especially those are in between jobs and that kind of thing. This is a great opportunity for them to get a scholarship. And if you don't know the difference between a scholarship and the other type of money that you get, there's no taxes on this money. So this money is given directly to the college for your tuition. It's not for room and board, but it is for tuition. So, and it's free money. Can't beat that. Again, free.
Wow, that is pretty cool. Hey, by the way, we've only got about 5 minutes up. Is it okay? Can we go past the 1 hour limit, Scott?
I'm fine with it.
Because we've got everyone else that may have questions too, but we're going to go to Rick, the final member of our DMR TechNet team, 88CAN, who has grandkids. If Rick can get them into getting their ham radio license, could be a scholarship.
Yes.
Rick, comments, questions you have for Scott tonight?
Well, kind of a little bit of trivia first. I'm probably the only one of the group that had one of the old tech licenses. Um, I had got my novice license the day I left the States for Europe and ran into several hams over there. I could not take a code test over there that couldn't be proctored. So I basically took the general written test and got a tech for Europe. And I had a German call for about 2.5 years or so,
Mhm.
and just had a blast on UHF and VHF with that. But that was part of my history back on and off. But I couldn't wait to get these were the smaller QSTs, and they'd
Oh
come in
yeah.
the mail and they'd be late, and
Oh yeah.
it was a
Yep.
blast. But
Actually, I preferred the smaller ones.
yeah, I did like those. I was also a member of the ARDC, not ARDC, the German,
Oh,
the
um,
German
yeah, the
ARRL,
RC.
basically.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
the DARC.
yeah, I was a member of that for a while too. Of course, I couldn't read their magazines, but such is life. But in and out of ham radio, I finally passed my extra. So I would like to go back to college for fun, but we babysit grandkids, and I've got one grandkid who happens to be KE8TII.
Hey, there you go.
Got his license when he was 11. Now he's 14. Has been on the radio about 3 times, and that's kind of one of my. I can't get him interested in something, and I'm not sure how to. So, what
Is he is he
philosophy do you
interested in
have?
going to college?
Yes.
Okay.
His mother has a nursing degree, and his father didn't go to college, but he's college material.
Well, dangle that $25,000 in front of him.
Yeah,
I mean,
I've
that's
waved a
real.
couple of those in front of him. I'm also a member of the Michigan State University Amateur Radio Group,
Hmm.
as opposed to Ohio State and that blue and yellow school down the road, about 80 miles.
Yep. I'm part of
Ogre,
W8LT down in
Yeah,
Columbus.
W8SH for MSU. But yeah, we've been passing around that 1919 number on the sweepstakes and
Yeah.
get a little questions.
Yeah.
But I've got to note, we've got to hammer it home with those kids. They can apply for the scholarships.
Absolutely. Please, it's like I said, it's free money. Yeah, it takes a little while to fill the form out. But quite frankly, for the hour or two that it takes to complete it, you never know. I mean, you could end up walking out of there. This year we had several students that one walked away with a $25,000 and a $5,000. So she actually got $30,000 in scholarships. So it comes down to, you never know. Um,
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
depends on, how many people are applying and what their academic backgrounds are and all that. But hey, it never hurts. It takes an hour to fill out the forms or a little bit more. And, it's like any other scholarship that a kid will apply for. So, but again, all this is free money. I mean, you can't beat that.
Well, the application is online, correct?
Yes,
Can they partially fill it out and then come back to it,
I
or
believe so. If I remember correctly, they have it's actually called Kaleidoscope. And it's a professional. I mean, they do scholarships for many other groups. We signed up with them about 3, 4 years ago, and we utilized them. They are the ones that sit down and figure out which scholarships would best fit who and so on, and then we do all the interviewing and that kind of stuff. But if I remember correctly, they can start it and then pause it anywhere they need to, and then come back to it any other time. So that should not be a problem.
okay? I just wonder because
Yeah.
college kids only have little bit of
Well,
time to allocate here and there. And
I was trying to think back to this last year that what do they call it? The FISA, FAS, FA,
FAFSA.
FAFSA.
Yeah, FAFSA.
Yeah, it still isn't right. They
Oh,
still
yeah.
correct. And I know a lot of kids, they were just frustrated as all get out because they couldn't complete it. Some couldn't even get registered with it. And so they were worried that, well, they wouldn't get qualified. And we said, no, don't worry about it. We understand where we're at with that. So,
It
and
was
it may end up doing the same thing this year, but the sounds of it, the government still hasn't got it right.
well, that form was a pain in the butt when my daughter was going to school, and it was all paper. So,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah, now it's all online, I guess, or they're trying to make it all online. I guess they haven't been very successful. So,
but yeah, keep going with the I forget who it is now, who's the youth director. I actually had my grandson down after he got his license. We went to Xenia to the Hamfest, and they interviewed him. They were interviewing youth to try and figure out what was, how to get them to get them more active. So
yeah,
um, it's a challenge.
it is. It is.
I took a look, Rick, and it says the scholarship application cycle opens October 30th and closes January 10th. And
Yeah.
I
Okay.
put the link in the chat.
Okay, thanks.
Do you have any other comments or questions for Scott?
No, that's probably all I have.
Okay. It's open up. Anyone else? If you guys have a question or comment, unmute yourself and show us your picture too. Let's see.
I have
Kurt?
two.
Kurt, go ahead.
Okay. So you mentioned about club members signing up through the club to get credit for the club. If a club member signed up and didn't go through the club, how do we attach that member to the club?
At this point, you can't. That's what we're working on, and hopefully we can get that in the next year or two. But
Okay.
right now, because of the cyber attack, everything got set back quite a ways. So you do have to go through the club. It's called the Club Commission.
Gotcha. Yeah, I'm more worried about just getting ARRL members connected to the club so that, like, if they have a ham fest, it gets listed, things like that.
Right. And that's great. There's a lot of great opportunities doing that with that. So,
Okay. And the second one is around the cyber attack. I believe you guys are forming, or maybe it's already closed, a committee or a commission, I'm not sure what you're calling it, of ARRL employees and or members to, like, provide guidance for the future. Is that still available to apply for, and if so, what do we do?
Sure. What I would do, send your credentials to the ARRL at it would be exec at ARRL, EXEC at ARRL.org, and tell them that you're interested in helping with the advancement after the cyber attack.
Okay. Very cool. Thank you.
Cool. Good questions, Kurt.
Mm-hmm.
Who else has one or who wants to follow up? Bob, Katie, Ron, Alan, John?
Wow, the silence is deafening.
Well, this is Alan here. I'm Scott. Thanks for talking to us. I really got a lot of good information, and thanks for your support for us hams out here, and ARRL support for us hams. Let's see. I remember reading the QSP. But my dad, he got his general back in the early 50s, and I was still in grade school, and then actually I got kind of interested in what his shack when I was in high school. I was in the well, I got into the science club, and I was working on some projects with some other guys there, and he had by then a pretty good collection of the QST magazines in the and a bookshelf in the basement next to his shack, and so I remember going through those, and man, there was some really it was really interesting. This was back, of course, before the all the the digital and micro technologies. So maybe it wasn't as daunting as it can be now. I mean, you don't have to be an engineer to understand a lot of this stuff. But anyways, I got interested in it then, and I played. One of the guys and I, we did some experiments, but we didn't have our license yet, and or then, and we used Citizen Band, but my dad helped set us up with some radios, and we kind of had fun doing that. But then I took a side turn. I got into I'm a retired geologist, and I was doing a lot of geological work, and then but back after I retired, I got back interested again, and I've been I got my tech back in 2013, and I joined the ARRL, and I've been a member ever since. Got my general in 18, and I've been I feel like Dana. I signed up for the 2-year this time membership, and but I think it's a good organization. I really enjoy the manuals, the publications, books, as well as the magazines and or bulletins, and I get a lot of good information out of them, and I've used the license manuals. I go back to them for reference quite a bit from one of my old license manuals that I used to study for my license, but I think I hate to see them go away. I hope they can get through this cyber attack stuff okay, and maybe we can improve. Maybe it would be good to improve the percentage of members, in the or percentage of hams that could be members. It'd be nice to see that, but well, I guess I don't know, what holds people back, but I don't think it's that expensive to be a member, but you never know, but
it's not. What's really nice too, and Tom said this one best. He said that the ARRL is our lobbying group, and he goes,
correct.
That's why Tom said, he's now a lifetime member because they stand to protect our frequencies, our airwaves, do the training, and all kinds of other cool stuff you guys have on the website.
Yeah, you might want to, I don't know if I tell you to take lessons from the FCC on their digital or their or internet side of things, because they sure have complicated things quite a bit. But
right.
but that's the way it goes. Anyways, they're probably trying to fight the same battles though that you guys are. I imagine they get hit a lot too. But but thanks again for coming on and talking to us. I think I totally support the ARRL, and I think they're doing good things, and I look forward to like one of the other fellows said, the manuals, I got the operating manual. I every I don't know, 3 or 4 years, I'll update that and get a new one. And then also I really get a lot out of the antenna manual. Man, that's a real good one too.
I do too. I enjoy that one.
Yeah, there's a lot of good information in there, I'll tell you. And so thanks a lot. I appreciate it.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Ron, you've unmuted. Did you have a question or a comment? And then John, you're quiet tonight. We haven't heard from you.
Yeah, I really enjoyed tonight. It's very interesting when we able to listen to you and hear where ARRL is going. It's a story that would be nice to be able to try to get out to more people. I think a lot of the problem is when I talk to some of my colleagues, they really don't understand what ARRL does. And after I explained it to them, I've had 50% of them join. It's not a lot. It's only like half a dozen people over the past 10 years.
Yeah.
But it's there. And when I was a kid, I had an uncle who was into it a lot. And I actually got his manual book. It was a 19, trying to think of what it was. It was back in the 50s that I got it. But anyways, I have that just as a keepsake, and I get them every 3 or 4 years, and it's just great.
Yeah.
So that's the biggest thing. I really enjoy trying to see where you're going, and I will put my name in for anything that anybody wants an old CIO to do.
There you go. All right.
Have a good.
Cool.
Again, thank you for coming.
Well, thank you.
Cool. Thank you, Ron. John, you're quiet. Normally, you're one of the first people to ask a question.
Yeah, I've just been listening. It's I really appreciate Scott, you coming out. It's a lot of good information. I myself have only been licensed since January, and
Well,
I've been getting the
congratulations.
mailers, but I haven't pulled the trigger. But now that I know that the club will get $20 if I do, that's incentive for me.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
I'll make sure to at the next meeting sign up. I'm in the same club as Brad, WMV, so I'll do that and get signed up for that.
Okay,
So, thanks
great.
again.
Yeah. By the way, I'm a member of a number of different clubs. So.
But by the way, we got a tour of the DARA headquarters.
Did you
And
really?
my
Okay.
God, that was outstanding. I couldn't believe all the stuff there, the
Kind of
antennas you guys had
unbelievable,
up.
yeah.
That was really Matt gave us a tour, and
Yeah.
what I got a kick out of it's $10 a year to be a member.
Right.
Not bad at all.
No. And I'm a member of like I say, probably 15, 20 different clubs. So around not only Ohio, but there's a couple in Michigan, and a couple in Kentucky as well. So I try to spread it out. So
Cool on that one.
yeah.
All right. Any other questions? Katie, Rick, Bob, Ron, Kurt, Tom, Steve?
I'll just make a comment. Earlier conversation with Tom and Scott, the idea of emergency help kind of came up, and I would just comment that the state of Michigan emergency operations outfit does a drill 2 or 3 times a year. I've had the privilege to participate in that, and we have a room that's dedicated to amateur radio, and there's about, I think, 11 or 12 different stations, and one of them is DMR. Because I just got into DMR myself, and I'm really brand new at it. So I stayed away from that station, scared to death of it, but maybe not so scared after a little bit more time here. But the idea, I guess, is that they will have a communications network, but the drills kind of take away different aspects of that communications network. And one of the times they got down to where everything was basically not usable, be it telephone, whatever else, all the digital stuff was like shut off because of whatever the drill was. And we were down to the amateur radios. We were going to be really the next line of communications. And 20 minutes after they did that little routine, we were all done for the day.
Yeah.
So it didn't make much sense, so we got no activity. And but there is DMR participation in the state EOSE drills and any other emergency that might happen, hopefully not pop up.
Yeah. Well, we had our here locally, we had our full-scale drill today, and it involved our state penitentiary out here. And we had it was fun. It was very interesting. We got to see a lot of the inner workings of the penitentiary that you normally never get to see. We have a maximum security pen here. The next step from here is the electric chair. So, which they haven't used in years. So, or I guess it's lethal injection or whatever they've got now. I don't know, but this is that stepping stone. So we get the worst of the worst here. So it was interesting to see how they quarantined The scenario was, it was a train car that had nitrous oxide, which is laughing gas, guys. I mean, um, it had exploded, it had tipped over and actually was leaking, and the plume was heading right toward the penitentiary. So, and having people locked up where they're secured in maximum security, and what do you do with them, because you don't want them, you know, I mean, it's kind of a unique situation where you get them all high on laughing gas, but essentially, they had special areas set up where they could keep them very secure. In some ways, it was a little scary, I have to admit. I mean, here you are, not that far away from people who do all kinds of nasty, mean things, and so it was, kind of interesting to watch how this all played out with, keeping them secure and keeping us secure away from them, and keeping everybody away from the nitrous oxide. So it was an interesting scenario for sure.
And I think it's still going on. There's still some issues going on with that. So unfortunately.
Yeah.
All right. It's 9:16. Scott, thank you so much for your time on DMR TechNet TV. Next month, we will be on Tuesday, October 15th. And we've got a tech support person, Jeremy from Bridgecom Systems, to talk about how they are promoting DMR and digital activity on that one. So on behalf of the DMR TechNet TV team, thank you all for watching. We'll have this posted on our website as well as our YouTube channel. And Tom, would you close us out and tell us what you always say about ARRL?
ARRL? What I always say about it? It's
Yeah.
ham radio. What do I always say about it? You have to remind me.
Well, hold on. That's DMR's ham radio, but you always talk about ARRL, how they are for amateur radio. They are our lobbying group.
They are if you know how our government works, they are very important. And I've never understood how anyone, honestly, today I enjoyed the meeting, but 20%, I would have guessed 50, 60, 70%. So that makes me want to get out there and get more people in it. The main reason is, when you're a new ham and you're a technician, you got one handheld, hey, then give it a year, 2 or 3 or 4 or 5. But there's a lot of retired guys, and they got a budget for ham radio, and they can budget for the ARRL, and they can reap tons of benefits from it. I'm too tired. I got a bookshelf of ARRL books for the last 40 years. And I love them. That's why I got them out, accessible. I'd much rather look in the ARRL antenna book, a couple formulas here and there, whatever I need, which I've been doing forever, instead of going on and searching around the internet. So it's a great organization, and there's really nothing that it doesn't do but help amateur radio. So I appreciate it, Scott. I hope we see you around, maybe at Dayton or somewhere.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Thank you very much for working.
Thank all of you for inviting me. I appreciate that.
All right.
Thank you so much. All right. This is
73.
73s.